Hello, everyone, and welcome to the OnlyLandFans show. My name is Kendall Lejeune, and our guest today is Casey Inman. Casey Inman is the driving force behind Land is Home, a unique real estate venture built on empowering land ownership opportunities. As part of a family-owned partnership, Casey's extensive experience spans from brokerage to contracting, real estate appraisal, and local government representation. With thousands of completed sales under their belt, Land is Home's mission is to simplify the land buying process for all. No pressure, just honest and affordable land opportunities backed by a one-of-a-kind customer satisfaction policy. Casey, thanks so much for joining us. How are you today?
Good, good. How are you guys?
Excellent, doing well. And I hear that you are calling in from sunny San Diego. How's the weather there?
Yeah, it's good. I think it's 75. It's nice.
Ah,
Can't
that's
complain.
so good, so good. Here in the Texas heat, I am so jealous of that 75-degree weather. So let's jump right in. Tell us, how did you get started in doing land deals?
It's quite a story. I was an appraiser before. Me and my family has done real estate throughout the years. So eventually we just started buying one, two. We started with the first one, just like anybody. And we found it was very difficult to buy land from anybody, an agent, a person. So once we did a couple deals, we're like, this is very difficult. I think we can make it easier. We have the knowledge, and I think people would just want it to be this way. So we just did it the way we wanted to. And it seems to be working out. Almost 10 years now we've been doing that. It's just there had to be another way to do things. And so we decided to do that, and it seems to be working. So everybody does stuff differently.
Yeah, lots of different ways to skin a cat for sure.
Mhm.
What types of challenges were you guys finding when you were trying to buy these land deals?
The valuation is one thing, but we had that down. We knew what the value of something was. It was just the regulations and zoning and back taxes, liens. Those all seem to be problems that everybody faces. You don't know if this person owns the property, or that's a normal problem with anybody. So we decided to use that as an opportunity to make all that stuff go away. So we just buy the property directly, fix everything if anything needs fixed, like title or whatever, and then just sell directly. No questions asked. There's no problems. Nobody's doing that. So we figured to do that.
Interesting. So, can you walk us through a case study of how you go about finding these properties, clearing them, making them easier for buyers, and then selling them to buyers?
Finding them is not that difficult anymore because I've been doing it for a long time. A lot of times the deals come to me, or I know where to find the deals at. When you start out, that's the hard part, is finding where the deals are. So people are doing mailers, people are paying other people to work for them. And there's various ways to go around things. I only do it the old school way. I just keep looking. I buy through other land people, even eBay, Craigslist, whatever. I can, as long as I acquire the property at a good deal, it's no big deal. And then I have to check and make sure everything is okay with this property. If there's any back taxes, liens. At first that was difficult. Now there is people you can hire, you can make phone calls, you can just do things one step at a time. And then you're going to market the property, and that's straightforward. And I don't mind holding on to properties for a while. Some people need to get their money back real quick. I'm also just accumulating properties. So the prices just keep going up anyway. So I'm not in a hurry to sell any properties. I'm lucky at that point right now to do that. That's not how it starts out like that at all. But there's so many weird little pockets that nobody's checking, or neighborhoods, or there's so much land out there that everybody can do a part or a place or a state or a county or whatever. So there's plenty out there.
That's fantastic. And what would you say to someone to give them some type of guidance about how to find those little pockets. Let's say they're just now starting in the land industry. They haven't done a ton of marketing, but they are listening to this and they say, man, I want those little pockets. So how can they go about finding that?
Yeah, I started like looking at places I wouldn't mind holding the land. Like I'm in Southern California, so in the mountains nearby, I wouldn't mind holding on to those properties, small little pieces of land, cabins, whatever. So that's what I started looking at. And that's where I bought first, was in the local mountains. And then a lot of people think like that in their little town. There's a place by the lake that they like, or in the desert, or so you look at areas where you would just want to own land, and then it just grows from there. And then you find, once you start talking to wholesalers, they bring deals to you, or they show you an area that's affordable or nobody's really in, or you just look around. There's many ways to go about it, but definitely start with where you don't mind owning some land, or because it would make it easy to sell to another person in your area. This is a cool place, you can buy land there. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Just
Very
thinking,
simple.
yeah, just thinking about the product that you are putting out. Where would you like to live? That's a cool
Right.
name. What types of land deals do you specialize in now? Is it larger properties or infill lots?
Specialize in, I get most of the weird stuff, or bought some islands, regular lots, unusable lots. I'm more of like a volume guy, so I bought in cemeteries, islands, anything you can think of, side of a hill. Somebody can't see the vision of, so it's marked down very inexpensive, and I can market it maybe a different way. So there's plenty of, I buy almost anything to do with land.
Interesting. You don't have any type of like, this is a red flag or this is a deal killer.
No,
Interesting. So who
even mineral rights. I like mineral rights. A lot of people don't deal with mineral rights, so I deal with oil, gas, mineral rights, all the weird stuff too.
got it? And so I'm assuming like when you say weird stuff, you're able to get this kind of stuff super cheap because no one's buying in cemeteries. So how do you turn around and sell that? Like who's buying weird stuff is the question.
There's a market for everything. It's just getting everybody to know about you. So I just have a website, and so I just drive the traffic to the website, or I even put it on Facebook or whatever. But I just try to drive all the traffic to the website, and I try to have a variety so people have stuff to pick from, because everybody wants 5 acres or an island, or they have their certain idea. But if you get enough people there, there's almost everything is valuable to somebody.
Right, absolutely. I think as land investors, we all understand that the weirder the property, the smaller the buyer pool, right? And so the fact that
Yeah,
there's a lot of volume to your website, so a lot of eyes get on it, that raises the chance of that specific buyer buying that property. The question that I have
right.
about that is, I guess to mitigate risks, how cheap do you buy those properties that look unbuildable or that are in the middle of a cemetery, which I have to know more about at some point. But how do you price those? What's the deal structure? What does that look like?
Usually it might be a wholesaler, or I just catch an eye of, even on Facebook, or somebody gives me a call. Hey, there's this weird property, nobody wants it, or uh, it's an interesting property. It comes to my desk many ways, but a lot of people now go directly to me for certain things. And I just take a look at it and see various ways you could look at it. Price per square foot, what's the local area, what's a home going for on a piece of land nearby, or there's many ways to look at it. But if it's weird, it might be marked down even more, and it's just not that hard of a, if you have cash, that helps. So that's always hard to keep cash on hand too. I don't borrow any money from anybody, so that's a tough situation. A lot of people borrow money and then they have to pay it back, and it's tough. But if you keep looking, there's always deals out there, almost everywhere. Austin, Texas has gone up a lot, like other places, but there's still deals like out farther away or smaller, or depends on your budget, and you just work your budget and then you do more deals and just try to go up. It
Okay.
just takes time, and a lot of people
Right.
don't have that time, and then they want like the secret software or a lot of people come to me, what's the secret software? I have a notepad and a computer, no secret software or anything. It's just more times you're doing it, the better you get at it. And obviously reading lots of books and stuff.
Gotcha. So how are you selling these properties? Are you doing cash sale only? Are you doing some terms? What types of selling are you doing for these properties?
I like seller financing because I want to make it open up to as many people as possible. Some people do not like to do that. I like to have as many people available to that property as possible. So I do a low down payment and monthly payments. I don't charge any interest, no liens, no back tax. I just make it super simple. And that's my key. Other people do all cash, other people do different things. That's what I like to do, and it seems to be working pretty good. So I'll stick with that.
There you go. Yeah.
Just make it easy for people. Don't mind paying a lot for something if they know they're getting quality and they can feel like you're trusted, that what you're talking about. A lot of people sell land, don't know everything, which is fine. I still don't know everything, but you have to do some studying if before and after, and just keep learning. There's lots of weird stuff out there, trust me. And the more the better, and you come off as you're trustworthy and knowledgeable, and they will don't mind paying what you're selling it for.
Got it. Talk to us about the cemetery. I can't get that out of my head. So what did that look like? Tell us about that deal.
I don't even know how I got it. I ended up with some cemeteries in Pennsylvania. I think I still have some. It just was a deal nobody wanted to buy, and it was like a half filled up cemetery with graves on one side and dirt on the other, and it was next to a church, and I forget, it was very good deal. And the regulations around cemeteries are weird, but you can build on cemeteries if you're like so far from bodies, and there's weird tax loopholes. I'm not building on any, but there's a lot of people that are looking at that stuff and they buy those things, and they have different ideas.
Yeah. So the buyer who bought that property from you, did they want to build on the cemetery or they just want to finish the cemetery out and just own the cemetery?
One guy wanted to donate it to a church, and then another guy wanted to build a memorial for his dead friend, I believe, and then another guy wanted to do like a tour or something, Halloween tour. There's all these ideas that I did never even thought of.
Wow.
And yeah, there's all sorts of interesting things,
Wow.
ventures, entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So what do you remember the numbers of that deal or roughly the idea? Like you bought it for how much?
I made money on that deal, but it definitely it was tricky because I had a few of them. I made money, but I don't want to buy them again unless it's like a crazy deal. It just was the first time. And so I was like, okay, we'll buy some.
Yeah.
It's very interesting deal, but there's a lot of things I learned after I bought them because I looked into cemeteries, how a lot of them are just like buried over. And they put stuff on top, like buildings and houses and parks. And there's a whole documentary on Netflix. So I went down rabbit holes. Every time like I go into a new venture or weird piece of land, I go down rabbit holes, and it's interesting, but
Yeah.
we'll just leave it at that.
That's crazy. So you also mentioned islands. How did you get involved with that? What did that look like?
I didn't think I could purchase an island. I never went out looking for islands. It just came across, I think it was a tax sale, or it was a interesting deal. It wasn't a full island, but it was pretty much an island. So it was connected to land, but it was surrounded by water. And so it's technically an island. But then once I bought that and sold it, I just went looking for islands just to see if I could find them. And there's
Right.
a lot of islands for sale. And
Interesting.
people do not buy and sell islands as much as you think. Like only rich people end up with them, or if you're a local in one, you might buy one, but there's a whole spectrum of there. Nobody touches that market. Like it's
Interesting.
very untapped market is islands.
Was it pretty profitable for you?
Yeah, it was tough to sell at first, but then I listed it on an island website. Like I paid a guy to put a drone and film it all, and then I listed on an island website and it sold like that.
Wow. Do you remember what the spread was?
I don't remember, but I think I paid 9,000 or it was under. I don't remember what it was, but I sold it for at least 5 times the amount, something like that. And it's worth way more now. I keep checking on it every once in a while. You know those deals where islands, or if you could hold islands, I mean, it just keeps going up.
Wow.
Like other land, land just keeps going up. Cemeteries not as much as islands. Let me tell you that.
They're not as exciting, it seems.
Yeah,
Did I hear you correctly? Did you say that you bought the island for $9,000?
I think it was 9,000. I want
Wow.
to say I know it was under 10,000 that I paid cash for the island,
Very cool. Very cool. How big?
and it was I think an acre or 3/4 of an acre, something like that, and it was a lot of people wanted it, but you had to market it correctly. So like I just took some Google shots or whatever, and it seemed once you paid the money to do the drones and put them in the island website or the magazine or whatever, it just shot up the value and people wanting it. So
Nice.
it was worth it.
Very cool.
I
Was
didn't
that
think it was worth that much, but it was worth it on that.
pleasant surprise? We love those. Was that like in the US?
Yeah, Mississippi.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A lot of my islands I buy in the United States. I've only have bought in 2 islands in Canada, which so far. So I buy land in Canada also, and I'm looking at other countries, but it's not super easy.
Got it. Yeah. Very
So
cool. What were some of the biggest challenges that you had in doing your very first land deal?
the first, you get that rush, the excitement. It's scary. You're nervous, but you're excited, and it's like a small piece of land in the mountains, and it was difficult and scary. But if I would have known before what I know now, obviously I would have been buying land a lot sooner, because just the past pandemic run up on land alone was, I should have bought more land. I always think that I should have bought more, or I should have kept that one or sold it for more. But it was so scary, but it was not. It was actually fun after you do the first one and you keep doing them. It's awesome because you get a little adrenaline and then you want more. And then, but that was all on my own, like all cash. When you have to pay people back, that's another thing. And the more people involved, it's difficult.
Sure.
So I would like to do it all by myself. That's what I would tell people: try to do it by yourself. If you have to bring somebody in for like maybe a deal or a short time, but try to do it on your own, or hire people to help you to solve a problem, but not be a part of the deal. I don't know. That's what I would say.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. When you were first starting out, what size properties were you targeting? Anything specific? What was your price range?
I would just look for something that I wouldn't mind holding on to. That's my own. No, not that many people do that, but I just was buying to, because I knew the values would go up over time, and a lot of people are just trying to buy and flip and sell. I don't mind holding on to them because the land values are growing so fast. It's not even, I don't even know how to explain it, but, and it will keep going up too. So a lot of people think, oh, I don't know if I buy this piece of land. Just buy it if you can. Try to get a good deal on it because it will be worth it. And because a vacant land is very low taxes, less problems versus houses, less risk, but it's still scary. Yeah, obviously your first couple deals it's tough, but I would just say do your best in research and just go for it. Start off smaller than bigger, obviously, but I wish I would have started sooner. I wish I would have bought more. That's what I'm always saying now.
Start sooner, buy more.
Just start. It's like when they tell you to buy stocks or to put it in your 401k, or just start.
Got
and then
it.
you can figure it out later.
Yeah. I love that because I love the whole concept of like messy action because so many times, and I know I fall prey to this too, like whenever I'm waiting to start something new that I'm not sure about, I feel like I need to feel ready and I feel like I need to know it all, but you'll never know it all. You'll never feel ready. So just start. I love that.
A lot of people never even start. I even have friends that are like, man, one day I'm going to go in and buy land with you. And they say that all the time. A lot of people, which is fine. I even tell them it will be fine. I will tell you what to do, or there's groups on Facebook that'll help you. There's people you could hire. There's all sorts of stuff. But just to start, that's the hard part for a lot of people.
Right. Because it feels
And
really good to dream about things and hope,
right,
and it feels really good. And you don't want to mess it up by starting at it. And then what if you
right.
fail? There goes your dream. What are you going to think about? But I definitely believe I recently posted something about this, but it's vision without action is just wishing, right? You don't
Exactly.
take action, you're just wishing. Do it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. That happens all the time, which is fine.
sure. Yeah. You got to do you. But at the end of the day, like,
It's normal. I took a long time to start, and I didn't go fast enough in the beginning, but then you learn, and later on you catch up. But that's what you learn.
shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about what your business model is. Obviously, Land is Home is your company, and
Mhm.
what is the business model like? I know that as a land investor, I'm sitting thinking, are you basically buying the properties, making sure that you're taking care of all of the weird tax things and just making it super easy for people to buy and then selling it at retail for, and seller finance? What's your business model basically?
Yeah, I just looking for deals all day, every day. So that's what I'm doing, is like looking for deals. So then I buy a piece of property that's a good price in any market at any time, and then I just see legally what's wrong with this. Does it have any easements? Does it have any? It's fine to get properties with those kind of problems. You just have to be aware of it during the process and fix those, or whatever you need to do, so you can market it and sell it to anybody without the less problems, the better. So, and then just market it, and then you feel out the market, so you know what's going on after doing it a while. Like a lot of people in the north to live in the south. A lot of Californians dream about going to Texas. A lot of Texans want to holiday somewhere else by the lake. Everybody has their kind of, so you try to gear towards there and just market it as a property that those people would like, and you know after a while what people like. But you just put on the website and just try to drive traffic there. And I like to do seller financing, so I like it, make it very easy for people to just get into a property, make the payments. When they're done paying it, they get the deed, all that. We take care of everything. A lot of people don't know too much about paperwork, and that's another thing. Legally, you have a lot of wholesalers that are middlemen, and we don't have any middlemen, but we buy properties from these people and we use that. So we just do things differently, and we do it the way we like to do it, so it's less messy with middlemen or VAs or whatever. It's just when people call the phone number, I pick up. And I know exactly about the properties because I researched the properties, I bought the properties, I know all about everything. So it's just a quality thing. But everybody's different. And yeah, that's just a basic business model that not everybody wants to do that, but that's what we do. We like to make it really simple for people, because a lot of people don't know about technology and smartphones, and they're trying to look up the property, and they ask questions that the people don't know about, like the VAs or emailing. They don't know all the information. So I have done all the work, and I know how to explain everything. And a lot of times I'm giving directions to people to go to the property. I had a ex NFL player a couple weeks ago yell at me. because he couldn't figure out how to get to the property. And I'm like, look, hold on, it's right here. I had to do it on the phone because he was in Texas, but he got it. He figured it out. We're all good, and we're buddies now. So
Yeah.
it's the communication is big, and knowing exactly what you're buying. So you have to give plenty of information and pictures and know what you're talking about, and then it wouldn't be very difficult. But a lot of people just put together a little package of I don't know what and tries to sell it.
Yeah, no, I really love that because it centers so much on the customer experience when they're purchasing. And so you're right, like it's not every day that people buy land in their everyday lives, right? Unless you're a land investor or you're
Right.
in industry, like buying land is a big deal for a lot of people because they might do it only
Hmm.
once or twice in their lives. So the fact that you make
Right.
it easy for them is very cool. So can you
Yep.
talk a little bit about who services your notes? Do you guys do that in-house or do you have a third party that does that?
Yeah, we do everything in house. So we service the notes. We do everything: the
Awesome.
land, the notes, the information, everything. So it makes it easier, but it's also more work. So we're doing a lot of work and running around, but people don't see that. It's like in the background. But we have it under control at the point. If it gets too crazy and we cannot control it, we would look to do something different. But we're able to control everything, and we know all the information and we can handle it. So it's working just fine so far.
That's great. That's great. And it sounds like a lot of your dispo process is kind of hinges on getting as many eyes on the property as possible via your website. Is that right?
Yeah, website. I do very little marketing. I just put it on Facebook or put it on anywhere on the internet and just try to drive people to the website. But I don't pay a whole lot of marketing, or I don't do any mailers or emails or anything like that because I get a lot of those and I don't like those. So I just don't do that. But other people are different. That's just, I don't like that and I don't do that. And I've still been doing pretty good without it. So I'm just going to stick with what works. So
There you go. If it's not broke. So
yeah,
who do you ever use realtors when you're doing these deals?
it's very rare. Good question. I've done it a few times and it was more headache than there was like certain properties that were very marketable and these people were like, trust me, I will market it for you. I will, but a lot of times they want to lock the property down for X amount of days. And then I can't sell it without giving them a commission. So that was a nightmare. Or they never even end up selling it and I could have sold it. Or I don't like to do those deals anymore, but I have realtors buy from me now, and I have realtors try to outbid me when there's auctions. So that's always funny. But actually, I was in Austin and these realtors, no, it wasn't Austin, it was near Austin. And these realtors were trying to outbid me. And I didn't want all the properties anyways, but I just bid them up a little bit. And
Yeah,
then they ran out of money. And then later on, I got the deals at the end for better deals than the beginning.
there you go. There you go.
So,
Doing that auction game reminds me of Star
yes,
Wars.
yeah, it's exactly like that. It's fun, but it's not, I don't do it a whole lot. It's once in a while, there'll be a lot of properties up for sale at an auction or something. So I'll go and it's cool, but there's a lot of things going on. People argue it, people get upset.
Yeah.
You got to fly in, you got to get a hotel, you got to check out the properties. It's a lot. So I try to do a lot of the stuff through phone, email,
Got
internet.
Yeah. So I know you said you didn't do a whole lot of marketing, but based on the marketing that you do, what are you finding as some of the most reliable marketing channels that you use?
It varies. Like Facebook used to be very popular. Now it's not as much. I feel like a lot more people are jumping around through different social medias or maybe eBay for some reason. I've sold some even on eBay or bought some, and it seemed to be some traction there. And then Craigslist, and I just trying to pick where to go. But some people have very good track record with one and I don't. You have to feel out what you like or what's working for you. But I've sold and bought properties through almost every platform you can think of.
Hey there, land fans. If you're enjoying this episode and would like to see more episodes like this, please be sure to let us know by liking and subscribing below. Very good.
It's
Awesome.
good to try different things too. Don't try
Sure.
the same thing all the time. Try different things. Just see what happens.
Test and iterate. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So, can you walk us through how you typically structure your seller finance deals? Like, how do you decide how much you're going to charge? What I know that you mentioned that your terms are pretty simple and straightforward, no interest rates, but how do you go about figuring out what the numbers of the deal are going to look like for you?
Once I've acquired the property, I already know what's going on, but sometimes it takes a while for the property to get to me in various situations. So once I get the property, I relook at it and be like, okay, what's the market going on right now? I look at all the online places, all anywhere I can find information and get a ballpark. I spend time on these properties, so I'll figure out what I could market the property for, and so I might even mark it down a little bit or up, depending on if you can get seller financing too, because a lot of times it's only cash deals. So it could even change with how you're structuring a deal. But I just try to make it a simple number. $50 down is usually always I have. I know that's crazy, but I do $50 down. And I will usually do about 100 months. So it's fairly simple. So somebody can figure out the math or figure out what's going on. So I just try to keep it as simple as possible because you have people selling land with like interest rates and loans and balloon payments and who knows what else. I just try to make it crazy simple because you can still put a higher number. You just try to make it simple. And not that many people's doing that. I'm surprised. It's like mind blowing to some people. They can't read it's just something different.
It's really interesting because I think it does, really open up the buyer pool whenever it's simple,
Right.
and it's also something that you can easily replicate. If you're not having to
Right.
change how you do things in every single deal, then it's a
Right.
lot easier to get the friction out of the process. So, um,
Yeah.
what's
Mhm.
the average like sales price for the deals that you're doing?
A lot of times I'll do smaller deals. They've been going up though. I don't know what the average would be. Maybe 10, 20,000 if I had to guess. The regular lots, or
Got
I
it.
do have some weird big ones, but I've sold a lot of big ones. The big ones are actually harder to find. It's been harder and harder to find big ones for good deals because a lot of people try to buy them and subdivide them, or I don't do that. It's a lot going on to subdivide and do all. I just like to buy and sell, but you know,
Right.
everybody does things differently.
So if a property is, for example, $10,000 and you're splitting that up over 100 months. So we're essentially looking at a $50 down payment and $100 a month payment.
That's why I usually try to keep it. I round it to, yeah, usually about 100, $200 a month if it's 10, 20,000. Just make it super simple. And it's been very popular. That's been easy to think because people want to not think about the interest rates and all this information. They just want a simple number, make the payment every month on the same month, and that seems to be what works
Got
for
it.
me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Which is
a lot
great.
of people want to own land and they think they can't. That's the big thing. Is a lot of people still think it's impossible because the down payments are very high, or everybody wants cash only. So I am different in that regard, and people seem to like that. And still wowing people that you could buy land with a very little down payment and monthly payment. So
Yeah. No, I love that. And so, if you're dealing with these low down payments, pretty low monthly payments, what's your default rate look like?
I don't know what the rate would be, but there is defaults. So people do not pay. And then I just take the property back after so much time. It says in the contract. And then I may or may not mark it back up. I usually mark it up and resell it for more. And then if those people, sometimes I'll let them switch so they can switch to another property that I have. Usually that solves a lot of problems. I really try to help people so they can switch to another property I have, or they can be on the books. I'll hold their money for a year or so. And if they want to come back, they still, but see, the problem is I try to tell them that the properties keep going up. If they come back to me with another property, it might be more expensive in the future. But things happen, I understand. So usually I just relist the property and sell it again after that time frame. So either way, I don't mind holding it or selling it, but the price is going to change over time and everything just keeps going up. So
Got it.
it's a win situation, you know?
Yeah. So I'm assuming that you have stipulations that they can't like build on the property or anything until the property is completely paid for.
I don't allow them to do anything they want. They cannot build on the property, no permanent structures or foundations until you pay it off, because I don't know who's doing that work. It's not because I don't want you to build your paradise house on my land. It's just I don't know if they're doing it correctly or wrong or what.
Sure.
And because if they improved the property and I took it back, it would be even worth more. But if they did it not good, I would have to tear it down or put more money into it. So there's a reason behind it. And they can clean it up, put a fence. As long as they give me back the property similar to what it was when they received the property, then that's fine. I'm not too, some people won't let you do anything. I'll let them do some stuff like put a shed on top or put a fence, things like that.
Got it. Yeah, no, that's really cool. So I know that you mentioned that you will pretty much buy anything, but are there any deal breakers that you have in your mind? If you come across something that has this or this, not doing the deal?
I don't buy everything as much anymore. But at first I was trying to buy everything, and a property I won't buy if it's the right price. I don't think I could say no to any. I won't buy cemeteries probably for a while though. That was a lot of weird stuff going on, but
Yeah.
every property could be worth it if it's at a certain price. I've sold some very interesting properties, some properties people thought were worthless, and I've sold and made some good money on. So I don't think there was too many properties I wouldn't buy.
So like road frontage, for example, that's one that a lot of people talk about. If there's no road access, they won't touch the deal. Is that an issue for
I don't
you?
mind. I like it when it's a little harder to get to, or if there's still easement to it, that's nice. Or if it's landlocked, that's fine. I'll still buy it, but it has to be at a different price. I've purchased many landlocked properties. So a lot of those land people who buy those by accident or whatnot, they come to me and maybe sell it to me. So either way, it seems to work out. It just might take a little while. So the reason why you want a clean deal is because it's just the speed of the transactions. Because if it has more problems or more interesting things, it's not as marketable to the general population as weird properties. So that's the only thing. Everything's still valuable. It's just a lot of people want to buy land, but most people want to buy a regular lot that's just simple and nothing crazy going on. I don't mind holding on to weird properties because the values keep going up over time anyways, and usually the taxes are very low. Usually, not always. But if the taxes are low, that's one major factor I look at properties of the taxes, because if I have to hold this property for a while, or if I sell it to another person, are they going to be able to afford the taxes? I make sure I put all that information, and I'm not trying to pass on something with like weird HOAs or like crazy taxes.
Sure.
That's another thing I just try to follow, but everybody does things differently.
Right. So when you're doing these deals, especially on the sell side, are you using title companies or are you doing self closings?
No, I just do a land contract. I don't do any title companies. If people want to go through a title company, that's fine. They can pay for it. I'm a retired appraiser. My mother who's my partner. She's a general appraiser, general contractor, and she's a broker. when the people buy a deal through us, they do not have to worry about this stuff. That's why we don't have to use a title company. We do a lot of research. We make sure the property is marketable and all good. When you want to go through title companies with a lot of people who don't have a background in real estate like that, and they want to be extra safe or whatever, but they could trust through me. They're going to be very safe. I'm accredited by the BBB. I just went to a party over there. Pretty cool.
Nice.
So we do things very differently because we are land people through and through real estate. But a lot of people are doing this as a side job or just getting started, or they're a middleman, a wholesaler. So, and they're using people like brokers and agents and VAs. And so that's why they go through title companies, because they don't know about this information, or they just pay them to do it. So
Right.
it speeds up the process. So they do many volume deals, but they're losing something. I personally know all the information and do everything. So
Got it.
just difference of work.
Sure. So have you ever come across a property that you couldn't get clear title on and you're just stuck holding it?
Clear? No, I've never had a problem where it was clear title, because I knew before it was going to be, but I did get stuck with a weird property, one or two weird ones, where I bought it on the border of a state, and it's hard to explain, but Texas and Oklahoma have a border of a river that runs through this but the river changes. So the border technically changes. So I bought a property there where the river had changed. And so I ended up in another state, and it's still battling. No, you go to them. No, you go to them. So those are the kind of weird ones where I'm still stuck with.
Interesting.
There's all sorts of weird ones, but there's not too many that I get stuck with. I could usually sell them or what, but I actually still have one on the border of Texas and Oklahoma.
So if you're listening to this and you want an ever-changing border property, hit up Casey.
That border is particularly difficult, but not all of them are like that.
Interesting. Very interesting. So what are some of your favorite things about the land business?
Honestly, because I am making money doing something I like and I can help people. And that's, to be honest, not to be like cheesy or anything, but doing honest work, because I help people understand real estate, to find a piece of property, to buy it. It's a lot of people just sell it and they're like, buy. I have a lot of repeat customers because I go through the steps with them. A lot of people don't know a lot about real estate, like anything. So you have to start from scratch with them, which is fine. And so I just try to make it easy and simple to understand. And I like that teaching kind of deal.
Definitely. Education, I think, is a huge part, at least in my business. Education is a huge part of the customer journey that I take them through, because you're right. Not everyone has general working knowledge about real estate, and it can be really easy for professional investors to not realize that, because we're in it every single day.
And there's usually one guy for that place or one guy over here. I know a little bit about quite a few spots, so it's interesting.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. It's a good value add to the customer for sure. So in your opinion, what is something that not many people are talking about in the land industry that we should be talking about right now?
There's a lot of things. Tiny homes is a big thing. I'll bring this up. I speak at tiny home conventions sometimes. The baby boomers are coming at that age where they cannot find housing where they want to be. So they're looking towards this tiny homes solution, which is skyrocketed. A lot of people live in vehicles and buy land or rent land or what have you. There's a lot of housing issues all over the United States that people think they cannot afford land, or a lot of people want to be in downtown, whatever, in Austin per se, but there are nice places that people don't know about that are very affordable, and that's another thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
There's many topics.
Yeah. And what I love so much about that is because you do deal with a lot of these quote unquote weird properties, you think a
Right,
little bit differently than what a lot of the other land investors are
right.
thinking about right now. And so it's very interesting to me to hear things about tiny homes or, like you said, maybe RV parks or some type of vehicle park. What are some other interesting land usage that you're finding?
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot. The big thing is like tiny homes, recreational parking. There's part-time places where people park maybe parts of the year, or land is used for a lot of things, and it's just barely getting bigger in all those little areas. Since land is getting a little more scarce in certain areas, it's the value is going up very rapidly. So you're having housing issues and land. So they're building these micro apartments or very skinny tall buildings. They're getting a little different with the housing, because they used to, when there was plenty of land, they just build big places, like plenty of room, no problem. Now you're getting these, if you see Hong Kong, it's the worst. They have these little apartments where they have literally like cages, and that's in
Wow.
Hong Kong. And we're getting more compact in our living, and that's interesting. And then there's some people who build underground. There's rich people that build underground. That's very interesting. Bunkers and hideouts and all sorts of interesting stuff. That has also ballooned since the pandemic, especially. A lot of people want to be in the city, but there are some people that want a big piece of land in the middle of nowhere, but near something. So that's been growing. A lot of people are moving from city to city, state to state. So that's pretty interesting. There's a lot of, but we're also having a lot of immigration from other countries, and people are not paying attention to that as much. Not that I'm saying it's good or bad. I'm saying the volume has grown over time and will continue to grow. And a lot of people don't know that. The population, they think, is going down. It's actually going up, and it's going to keep going up for a while, not forever, but at least it's projected to at least 2000 2100 the year. And that just the world population, but a lot more people are coming to the United States. So the scarcity is even more because we have Chinese people, Hispanics, Canadian people. A lot of people are coming because of opportunity, and the infrastructure is not really built for that yet. And so, even like in Texas, they've had a massive growth, and it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be interesting. But the prices will keep going up, especially in the United States for a while. It
Yeah.
might go a little flat for a little bit, but it's going to keep. So if you buy land, don't be scared to hold on to it. Or if you're just buying your first deal, don't be nervous, because it will be more valuable in the future.
Yeah, I love
Almost 99% of the time.
buy land, don't be afraid.
Yeah, I tell everybody to buy land. The best time to buy land was yesterday.
There you go. There you go. Second
So
best time is today.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things going on, and politics and media, whatever, but the land just keeps going up. And the inflation, if you buy land, you're actually fighting inflation too, because the value is going up. So a lot of people don't talk about that.
Very good.
A
Good
lot of
stuff.
it, yeah, a lot of interesting information.
Yeah, that's really good stuff. Who are some of the favorite entrepreneurs, business owners, influencers maybe that you follow?
Oh, interesting. I like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. He's okay. These main characters, Grant Cardone, very cool. I think Elon Musk though is one of the better ones because he's dreaming so big. A lot of people don't dream big enough.
Right.
They don't even think they can buy one piece of land, or maybe one, and that's it. You could buy as much as you want. You just got to figure it out. And a lot of people they don't think they can even dream that big. And he just keeps dreaming bigger.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I definitely think he's wired a little bit differently than most people.
Yes.
You know? But I really love that think bigger, dream bigger. Like whatever is your big
Yes.
dream, like multiply it. And this is coming from Grant Cardone, 10x it.
You can always dream bigger.
Yeah,
You can
yeah,
always dream bigger. You might not always fulfill that, but you're getting bigger and better
that's it.
than you
That's it.
thought.
That's so good. So good. So, what's one of the biggest surprises you've had so far in your land journey?
I never thought I'd be at this point. You never think you'd have this much land or this many deals done, or you just kept going and grinding and one, two, four, six. I never thought that would happen. But if you put in the work and just keep going, it's possible to do something you like and make money and have fun and meet cool people and learn lots of information you never knew. I started out like any other Joe. I didn't know that much information. And you meet a lot of interesting people, but a lot of people are very similar. So it's very interesting. A lot of people are similar, even other parts of the world. I've sold land to people all over the world, and they're all very similar.
Yeah. There's a lot of commonalities, I think, because we're all human.
Right,
So everyone dreams,
right,
everyone has some kind of fear, everyone just wants to be happy on some level. And yeah,
right.
it's a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. If someone's listening to this and you know what, I think I'm going to go after these weird properties, or I'm going to just bite the bullet and just start buying property and doing this model of selling on seller finance, but they may not have the funds to really to buy a
Right.
lot. What would you advise them to do?
I would say start small or start maybe with one friend or borrow money from family. Try to make it simple, but then try to get one or two deals or whatnot. And then just try to do all this is what I tell everybody, just use your own money and try to buy a property. It might be tough the first couple times, but then you get a feeling of where or how much, or you have to build it up a little bit. But the first one is hard. The first couple are hard, but then it gets easier. And sometimes you want to keep some, but you got to just put them for sale because better stuff comes always.
Mm, yeah,
And just start somehow, some way. Don't borrow crazy money from loan sharks. Don't do anything. Don't put all your money. This is what I tell everybody. Don't put all your money in any opportunity. Make sure you could pay your rent, pay whatever you got to pay, but start saving up even something to buy a property or do seller financing. That's the easiest way to get into a property is probably seller financing.
got it. So Casey, when you're buying these properties, let's say you're turning around and selling them for 10,000, 20,000, like what are you buying them at? Or is it like a couple of thousand? Is it like you're buying them for five, selling for 10? I know every deal is different, but what can people expect to pay if they buy right, if they start small, like their first properties?
Yeah, it does vary and but you can make good money. It's just sometimes the pandemic happened. You made money very quickly compared to other times. Sometimes it's slower that the you could get a deal and it goes up a little bit. It just depends on how long you're marketing it for too, because it could take too long, or it could be nothing in the market. In that market, you got a property and everybody wants it, so you could mark it up because there's no other market there. But I just try to make it, I just put the number to where I feel like the market says it's at this number. It doesn't mean I always have to make 5x or 10x or whatever. I just get the property and I know there's a good spread. I like a good spread though. I don't want to make $100 on a property,
Right.
but I
Got
just try to make some good spread, and I don't mind if I hold it for a little while because the prices keep going up. I look at the trend too. Are all these properties going up? Or they've been flat? Is there a lot of properties for sale? You have to look at all these general questions.
So
Eh,
let's say a property is considered pretty undesirable by a lot of investors because of maybe a problem with road frontage, or the slope might be crazy hard to build on. Would you expect to buy some of these properties for like a few hundred and then try to sell them for a few thousand on seller finance? Or what's the like barrier to entry? If someone's, I have 500 bucks in my bank account right now, I'm going to go do land. Could they expect to do that? Or would they expect it need to be a couple thousand?
Yeah, you could buy land. You used to be able to buy land for 500 bucks somewhere. It's harder these days, but sometimes if people want to just get rid of a property, they feel like it's useless. Sometimes there's a tax auction or some kind of, or maybe a land guy just wants to get rid of it. I purchased land for 500 bucks and sold it for more, a lot more. That
Nice.
happens. And sometimes it's the things that people miss. There was this triangle behind this tract of homes, and I purchased it for very inexpensively. And I just wrote letters to the people attached next to it. And then one guy's like, I've been looking for that for 10 years. And he paid a good amount. And I sold it to him, and it just made his yard bigger. And
Nice.
nobody had done that, I guess, before me.
Nice. Yeah. Very
And sometimes it's simple like that, sometimes it's not. But
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. That's great. So you're finding a lot of these properties, tax auctions, other wholesalers. Uh, any other favorite ways that you like to find deals?
oh, I like a good eBay deal every once in a while because a lot of people don't know what they're selling sometimes on eBay.
Mm.
Well, you got to be careful of that too. But I've purchased some very interesting property off of eBay and was worth a lot more than they thought it was.
Nice.
It was usually like somebody had passed away or probate or some kind of interesting family member was left with this interesting property like mineral rights or a weird property, and so they put it for sale on eBay because it's simple to put something up for eBay. And then I was like, yeah, I'll check it out, and I'm like, oh, this is, yeah, I'll buy that. And you could find deals like that, Craigslist, eBay, all the, it's just you got to be looking. And so I'm constantly looking for deals.
Love it. Love it. So, what is your biggest passion or goal you'd like to achieve at this point in your life?
I don't know. I've done even more stuff than I never thought I'd go and buy an island. I didn't, I just happened to do that. So I've done quite a bit. So I do want to have a book or something or a course, but I don't want it to be a certain way. I want it to be real nice the way I want it. So I'm yet to do that, but I would like to teach people how to do what I do. It is very interesting.
Yeah.
But I've done a lot of good stuff. I would like to pass it on to my kids, but they don't seem to be very interested
Give them some
so
time.
far.
Give them some time. They'll come
Yeah,
back. Dad, can you teach us how to flip cemeteries?
they don't really care right now, but that's all right.
Love it.
One day maybe.
How old are your
I have
kids?
an 8-year old and a 14-year-old,
Yeah,
and
give them
so
some
that's the
time.
last thing they're worrying about.
Give them some time. Gift them some
Yeah,
properties. When they see that skyrocketing, they'll be like, Dad. Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. I love it. So, what would you consider to be your
Superpower. My patience, because a lot of times buyers, sellers, wholesalers, where they don't have a lot of patience sometimes. And that's because maybe they don't know a lot and they're trusting you do or do not know a lot. And or maybe they have all the time in the world to ask me a million questions. So I have to just take a second, answer every little question, even though I know the answers very easily to a lot of them, they do not. So I have to just be like, remember, they don't know that much about this, so I have to explain it to them a couple times, and that's okay. And once you shown that with a lot of people, they trust you into other things or other properties, or then they're feel comfortable to buy properties from you or with you, whatever. So just taking the patience, and a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't do that, and that's simple thing. And taking the patience to research the property, find a good property, sell it good, market it good. A lot of people are rushing and have VAs and software, and stuff is lost there. So actually, that could help a lot of people.
for sure? No, that's fantastic. Casey, I want to thank you so much for giving so much of your time and energy and experience with us today. How can we give back to you right now? What kinds of resources or connections are you looking for currently?
If anybody wants to send me weird properties or maybe property, they could send deals to me. People send me deals all the time, and I take a look at them. They do it through my email or through my Facebook or whatever, and I try to look at every single deal. And there's lots of them coming my way. But also, if you can get together with other people, that would help the whole thing, because if everybody's connecting and getting deals done, and a lot of people don't meet up over here, but in the Midwest and the East Coast, I see people meeting up and doing things. So that would be cool if more people were to do little meetings, or that would be cool.
Nice. And if someone wants to send a deal your way, you mentioned Facebook and your email. Do you want to share your email address here?
Yeah, they could use Casey Inman at ymail.com, like a Y and a mail, not Gmail.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone. Thank you to Casey. Thank you for everyone joining us and asking fantastic questions. This has been absolutely wonderful. Wishing you guys a fantastic week, and we'll see you next time. Until then, be safe, take care, and catch you on the next one. Bye bye. If you're interested in hearing from other 6 and 7 figure land flippers about how they've built and run their businesses, then check out my group OnlyLandFans, where I do a live interview each week inside the group. You can grab that link at the description below. Until then, be great, have a great week, and catch you in the next one.